Alright guys, this is a video on how to make a boost reference vacuum canister. So this right here is the vacuum canister that I modified. This over here is a normal factory unmodified vacuum canister. Alright. I'm currently making stuff for it to be like a limiter, but I'm gonna suck on this little tube right here and you're gonna see this little arm move right here. Right? 3, 2, 1. Now when I let go, it springs back. So under manifold vacuum, this is advanced. Whenever you smack the throttle and open the throttle blades, the vacuum goes to 0. That retards back to normal. And then your mechanical advance with the weights kicks in. This does the opposite. So what I did is I tore open one of these with a screwdriver and a punch and a chisel and a hammer and mainly a screwdriver. Just went around this little lip right here, uprooting it, right? And I did that to get inside to the diaphragm. When you get into the diaphragm, there's going to be a little spring. You want to take that spring out. Now what I did was there's a little plate in here, this little like octagon or this hexagonal area right here. There's a plate in there that has a screw that's adjustable, right? What I did was I cut that screw and then I screwed the little tiny nub back into the plate. So I cut the screw, it's about this long, I cut it down to like that long, and you keep the circular base. Then I took a spring, this is a compression spring, so not, no, it's a, it's like a throttle spring. It's, let me see. So this is the spring that came out of it. This was on the vacuum side. So the vacuum of the manifold is fighting that spring. But the spring that I put in there is a smaller one like this. And it's like tightly wound and it has to be pulled apart. So I drilled a small hole and I sandwiched one end of the spring on the wire in between that plate and the and that little black screw, the base of that screw, right? Then the other side, there's a little metal rod that's connected to the diaphragm. There's a little metal plate. I drilled into that metal plate and I wrapped the spring wire around that. So now this has a little bit of spring tension on it, and it is instead of it being pushed this way and the manifold having to fight it and suck it back this way and advance it, it now retards whenever I blow into it. So whenever the manifold sees boost, like positive pressure, it actually retards the timing. So what this is like a poor man's boost reference retard system. So ignition retard, right? So there's a little port right here that in my supercharger manifold that I'm going to install this. It's a 1/8 NPT to 5/16 hose barb, and that is going to go, and this is just normal ass hose. It's like, I actually think this hose right here is from a I think it's from a windshield wiper hose liquid thing, but anyway, doesn't matter. Just as long as it doesn't pop off under 6 PSI a boost. But anyway, what I want to do here is I want this distributor to retard about 5 to 6 degrees. Right now, if you leave it in this configuration, it will retard the distributor about 20 degrees. And I left it kind of tore up here, but it seals, it doesn't leak, and it's crimped in 4 locations. And I did that just in case I want to ever get back into this thing. It's not a huge pain in the ass to do it. It doesn't leak. I've tested it. It holds pressure all the way up until the arm is fully extended. So yeah, that's how I did that. And so along with the mechanical advance, I now have boost retard. So if my mechanical advance comes all the way out at 20 degrees advance at 2,500 RPM, that should be enough for the manifold here to create enough boost to push this thing back. And it should retard the timing once I get the limiter in there to about 6 degrees. So instead of throwing 20 degrees at the motor, it'll be throwing 20 degrees minus 6. So it'll only be throwing in 14 degrees of advance, because it'll be, the timing will be delayed. It will be retarded per manifold boost pressure. And the advance, it will no longer have a vacuum advance, it will only have a mechanical advance, which I'll show you over here. Right here, these weights. When this spins, these weights sling out like that. And that causes, whenever I move those weights, you can see here, it does advance the distributor, you know, about 20 degrees. So let's say you're cruising down the road and this is at 2,500 RPM, it's all the way out, and then your vacuum advance is all the way in. Oh boy, you could have thrown about 40 degrees of timing into that motor. 35, 40 degrees. So yeah, that's how this works.